Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. This video I plan to revisit the TBR that I set myself at the start of August. If you saw my TBR jar video, then you'll have seen that I set myself a fairly ambitious target of 5 books, which quickly turned into 6 books when my sister-in-law came around and added yet another book to the pile. We're quickly approaching the end of August now, and I've managed to read 3 of those books, meaning that I have got 3 remaining. So I thought it would be a good idea to do a little video and let's see how many of those books I can finish and if I can manage to finish my TBR on time. Let's do it. The first book that I'm going to be attempting to finish this video is The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. If you've heard of this author, it's because he also wrote The Silent Patient, which I feel like was one of the most popular books on BookTok last year. I've read it, absolutely loved it. I picked up this shortly after, and it's kind of sat on my shelf for a while since, so I'm quite glad to be getting to this one and seeing if I still like Alex Michaelides as an author for his other books. This one is about the Maidens, which are a elite group of students at Cambridge University. I think the story follows that one of them has been murdered, and then an ex-student of the university, a therapist, Mariana, is coming back to the university to investigate, or somebody that she loves is threatened, so she's kind of involved in the story somehow, but I don't know too much about it other than that, so let's read it together and I'll keep you updated and let you know what I think. You won't know this, but it's actually been a couple of days since my last update. I am working my way through The Maidens. I'm about 2/3 of the way through currently. I am on page 250, which means I've only got about 100 pages left, so I'm going to try and finish it tonight. If not, it will be like first thing tomorrow morning, so I'll update on my full thoughts then. But at the moment, I'm enjoying it. I really like the referring back to kind of like Greek mythology and things like that and learning more stories. This one focuses on like Persephone and how she was known as the Maiden, and then there's these group called the Maidens that are like an elite academic group at the Cambridge University, and then the girls that are part of this group, there's 2 of them that have currently died, which is kind of like what the story's focusing around. Like there's this, the main character is Marianne, who's a psychotherapist, and she's trying to figure out the reason behind these murders, who's responsible for it. So I don't want to say too much. I'm really enjoying it so far. The chapters are super short, so it feels like I'm reading so quick when I'm reading through it, which I absolutely love. But I feel like with thrillers, you can't really give a rating or your full thoughts until you've kind of finished the book, because it is all going to depend on the ending and how the story kind of wraps up. There's definitely a couple of points where I kind of think, why are we focusing on this? Why are we doing this? But I feel like as long as they're explained well, it could be really, really good. But then there's also a point where I feel like where my mind is at in terms of what I think is happening is also where the author is trying to direct you to. So I kind of hope that it isn't that, because I feel like that would be too obvious and would bring it a bit down in my opinion. I'm really hoping for one of those kind of shock endings that I didn't see coming and I missed loads of stuff. But I guess that's what we all really want. So I'm really eager to keep watching and see what's going on and then update you when I've finished it. So let's carry on. Okay, it is the next morning, but I have now finished The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. In the end, I've rated this a 3 stars. I thought it was really good. Because the chapters are super short, it's really easy to get through and it's super fast paced, which is exactly what you want for a thriller. I really like the setting being at Cambridge University. I like the high society academic group and how it's like linking to those for the murders. And I really like the use of like the therapist element again, in terms of like getting into the mind of the killer and understanding the psyche of it all. What I would say is there were elements of what was driven forward in the plot that made points feel quite obvious for the twist, but then there were elements of the twist I absolutely did not get. The only thing that I found with it is I didn't find it totally convincing for certain characters as to what happened. But I mean, I don't want to obviously give any spoilers, so I don't want to say any more about that. But I did think it was really good. I preferred The Silent Patient overall. What was really fun is they actually had the award that The Silent Patient is like based in, and they made references to that, like when the job was going to go to the woman who killed her husband and never spoke since, like all the stuff that kind of happened in that like little reference to it, which I thought was really fun. But again, a super easy read, 3 stars for me. Definitely one that I would recommend to other people, but definitely not one that kind of like threw me through a loop or made me be like, whoa, I did not expect that or didn't see that coming. But really strong book. So let's choose the next one that I need to get read off my TBR. I've got 2 other picks for the TBR this month that I do need to try and get read before the end of the month. So the first one is The Murder After the Night Before by Katie Brent. And this one is another murder mystery thriller type read, I believe. So something bad happened last night. I've woken up with a hangover from hell, a stranger in my bed, and I've gone viral for the worst reasons. But I can't remember a thing. My best friend Posey is dead. The police think it was a tragic accident. I know she was murdered. So that sounds pretty interesting. I think I pretty much just picked up because I really liked the cover of this one. I don't know too much other than obviously what it says there, but another murder mystery option could be a good shout. Obviously, nice and quick to get through to try and get that one boxed off. And then the final book that I need to get done is the final book that I need to get done is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. This one was one of the subscription boxes that I got from the Locked Library. Again, I don't know too much about that because obviously it was like I don't get to choose what comes in the subscriptions, but let's see. Evar has lived his whole life trapped within a vast library older than the empires and larger than the cities. Livera has spent hers in a tiny settlement out on the dust where no one goes and nightmares stalk. The world has never noticed them. That's about to change. That doesn't give a lot away. I've got no idea what that's about. I mean, I know at least with the other book that I kind of know what I'm going into and what I'm going to get. Although at the top of this one, George R.R. Martin has put an excellent writer, so that could bode well. But also, this book is absolutely huge. Let's look at the page count difference. This one is 566 pages, and this one is 325. I feel as though if I'm going to be smart, I should read the smaller book and then I can use the final days of the month to try and get the bigger one boxed off. Because at least then, if I get the smaller one done, I've read more of my TBR. Yeah, I feel like that's what I'm going to do. Let's read The Murder After the Night Before. Okay. So I've got an update on The Murder After the Night Before by Katie Brent. I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm a little under halfway through, as you can see. And yeah, it's really good so far. When I think I described it in an earlier clip as like a mystery thriller type book, but I wouldn't go fully that way. Simply because it doesn't have that kind of darkness that you normally get with like a mystery thriller. It's very much, I think it is described as this when I look at online, to be fair, a whodunit kind of book, which I think obviously still comes under like mystery, but doesn't have that thrilling element because I guess like I would say there's more of a brashness or a humour to the writing. But I really like that. So when I'm like home alone, I still feel like I can read it because for me, my imagination is just so vivid that the words on paper in any kind of like thriller or horror are translating to noises in the house, people watching me, like my anxiety cannot. So this is really good because it's got that fun element of it doesn't freak me out, even though obviously there's sinister things happening, there's murder going on, and she's trying to figure out what's going on, and that feeling of like someone looking over your shoulder watching you. But the way that it's done has still got that element of humour and brashness that I really, really enjoy. So I'm really enjoying the story of this and kind of like figuring it out. When I first started reading it, you get the first kind of like info dump, like the first download of information, I started thinking, oh, this is going to be so obvious. But kind of as it's going on, there's points that I thought that would be it initially. I'm now not thinking that, but I'm not really sure where the story's going yet. So I'm very excited to kind of see where it goes. The different elements of the story are so interesting, both in terms of her hangover from hell is so much more to that than you're led to believe on the back of the book. And I don't want to obviously say what that is because I don't want to spoil it. And then obviously you've got the death of her best friend and kind of all the stuff surrounding that is so much more than you're led to believe on the back of the book, which I really like because I feel like sometimes blurbs can be a little bit spoilery, whereas this one for me wasn't. Like you've got the very basis of things, but the actual context behind everything is so much more interesting. So I'm really enjoying it so far. Obviously, again, what's going to make or break this is going to be the ending, how they tie it all up together. But so far, I do think it's really good. So I'll keep you updated. Let's read some more. I've been absolutely terrible at updating, but I absolutely binged the rest of this book, meaning that I have now finished The Murder After the Night Before by Katie Brent. Sorry, I completely forgot the title of it then. I really enjoyed this book. Like, I binged the rest of it because I feel like the story got so fast paced. There were so many moving parts to it, and it was like such a fun read in the way that like my best friend's been murdered and I don't know what's going on kind of can be fun, but because it was that like whodunit kind of style, it was really quite fun to read. I really liked the main character, like the narration of her. The story had so many moving parts, and so much stuff that I couldn't have pieced together. Like I feel as though as you're going through and learning more about different characters, you start to kind of get suspicious of what's been going on and certain things, but then the way that it all links together, I couldn't have foreseen. Maybe somebody who is a much more seasoned mystery reader than I am probably could have foreseen it, but I was very much just along for this journey, and the way that it was pieced together and finalised at the end was so good for me. I actually ended up rating this book a 4 stars, which I'm so pleased with. I did look up a couple of reviews beforehand and people that I'd seen on Goodreads, and I do follow their reviews and kind of like trust them, but they rated it lower, so I was kind of expecting this to come out more on like the average side of the scale for me, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I would recommend this to other people that enjoy that kind of mystery element without always needing it to be that dark kind of like thriller type book. A really good one if you're looking for that kind of mystery vibe over the summer. I feel like if you are looking for a couple of those before we enter autumn, then I would definitely recommend that for this for that. You know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, overall I thoroughly enjoyed that book. That means we've got one book left to read for my August TBR, which is The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, which is an absolute beast of a book. We're on the 28th now. I've just finished work for the day. I've just finished that book. I've got a few things that I need to do at home. The next couple of days I have got work again, so I really don't know that I'm going to get this done in 3 days. How many pages is it? Let's look. This book is 566 pages, hardback. Just to let that sink in. I mean, hopefully it's like really fast paced and really engaging, and I love it so that I read it super quickly, but given what I've got on the next couple of days with work and stuff going on at home, I don't really see how I'm going to get this done, but that's the point of this video. Can I finish this TBR before the end of August? So let's get started and see how we get on. Wish me luck. Okay, please excuse the terrible way that I look, but I am working from home today, so that should explain it. I am currently reading The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence, the final book of the August TBR, but it is currently the 30th of August. Is there 30 or 31 days in August? 31, so I've got today and tomorrow to finish this entire book. I am really not hopeful for myself. I am on page 88. I don't know what to think so far. Like, I'll preface it by saying it's written in third person, which isn't necessarily my favourite. There are 2 POVs in this. So you've got chapters with Lavira and what's going on with her, and then you've got chapters with Eva, I believe, which aren't necessarily my favourite. I'm really enjoying the Lavira ones. I love her character. I think she's really funny, and the stuff that's going on with her and kind of like learning all this new information through her is really interesting. But I don't know whether I'm just like not fully grasping the Eva chapters, but I definitely found myself like struggling to get through those more. They're not quite as interesting, but hopefully that'll improve. I assume at some point we'll get like a combination of these, or I hope so, and kind of bring it together. But it's definitely not my favourite at the moment, is what I say, and I don't want to be too negative. Like, considering the size of this book, considering it is a fantasy read, you've kind of got to get through the world building and things like that, which I find easier to do from Lavira's because it's like more of a child's perspective. So while she's learning all this stuff about the new world, I'm learning it at the same time. Whereas I guess with Eva's, I feel a bit like I'm getting a boatload of information and not fully following what's going on because they're familiar with this world. I hope that somewhat makes sense. But yeah, I think I'm working from home today. I've got a lot of stuff to do, so I've got my headphones and I'm thinking I might try and listen to it for a little bit and see if that kind of improves my experience of it. It's just so impossibly long, but I am really, really trying my best to try and get through today and tomorrow in hopes that I can get it boxed off for August. And I'm desperately so excited to pick out my TBR, and I'm not allowing myself to do it until I finish this book, because I feel like if I get something I really want to read out the jar, I'm going to end up DNFing it or something, or putting it off, and I don't want to. I really want to like commit to try and finishing this TBR. So let's keep reading, and then I'll keep you updated at how I'm getting on. We're officially on the last possible day of August that I can finish this TBR. I am now just under 200 pages through the book that wouldn't burn. I feel like I am reading so much of this and getting nowhere. How is there this much of the book left? It's Saturday at least, so I have got the entire day to try and get it done, but I've got stuff that I need to do, so I feel like, am I going to be able to do this? Time will tell. You will find out. I feel like I'm starting to get to grips with the book a bit more. I feel like I need to talk about it, so this let's keep reading. We've got today, so let's see how much of this we can get through, and pray for me that we can get this finished in time to have the August TBR completed. Let's go. You won't believe it. We've done it. We have finished the August TBR. I cannot believe it. It's only about 8:30 at night, so I have really, really pushed through to finish this book. And that is the final one for the month. I think that puts my grand total at 8 books, but all of that will be in my August wrap up. I am so pleased that this one is over. This final one, library. No, that's not even the book that I was reading. The final book was The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I've already said that, but yeah. I ended up rating this one a 3 stars. I think for me, I just kind of struggled more to get into it. It was a bit of a information overload, which really was like a theme throughout the book for me. I think it's something that, I hope this kind of makes sense, that would get a better rating on a reread, like having a little bit more familiarity with not necessarily the main characters. Obviously you get a lot with them having the multi POV, but there are so many side characters and things about the worlds, and there's different worlds, and there's all this like traveling between and lots of things going on that I kind of struggle, because it's huge, and like it's on me as well, really like trying to push through and rush this book. Like I am on a bit of a book hangover headache kind of vibe after today. But I rated it 3 stars because I did think it's really good. I think the characters have got a lot of depth. There's obviously a lot gone into this world to make it what it is. It's very intricate, but also very well put together, very well written. Also, you know, extra points because this edition is absolutely stunning. Like, I'm not even going to deny that. But yeah, I think 3 stars because it is something that I would recommend to other people. Not necessarily like regular recommendations that I give out to people at work or friends that are looking for like books for holidays and things, but definitely people that are through and through readers that really enjoy like fantasy type books, that love this kind of like intricate world building and like character depth and things like that. I would recommend it to them certainly, but I do think on a reread it would probably increase because I'd have that knowledge already built up, whereas I just found elements a little bit confusing. I hope that kind of makes some sense, but we did it. So that excitingly is now where we wrap up this video with me. It's night, it's dark, it's late, I'm tired. I'm wearing pyjamas, which are just a faded Matty Healy top. Enjoy that little bit of knowledge. I'm definitely not going to be picking up another book tonight. And I feel like this as a reading vlog was probably the most boring ever, so I apologise for that. All I've had time for this week and trying to finish this TBR is going to work full time and then reading in every waking moment that I've had available to do so, to make sure that I got this finished. It couldn't have been any more up to the line the very night before we move into September. But I've already got my TBR picked for September, and that video will either be already posted or will be posted soon, so make sure you check that out. There is probably already a spoiler of them on my table if you've spotted, but I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then it'd mean a lot if you dropped it a like. I can never get that sentence out. And if you want to see some more of the videos that I've got upcoming or that are already on there, then please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.